Hello and welcome to the Mindful Knitter podcast. I am Claire and I am your host. I'm coming to you from the southeast of the United States, where I live with my husband Alex, our two Great Danes, Murphy and Nolly, and our hamster Crema. So welcome new and returning viewers. I'm so happy to have you here with me today to hang out for a while and talk about yarn. If you are not already aware, if you're new to the channel, I am doing Vlogmas as well this year. So I would be happy to have you join me for some vlogging. At the moment, I'm posting about every 2 days because posting every day just seemed like a lot, but posting once a week was not going to be enough because every 2 days I've got about 30 minutes of content, it seems like. So I'm posting about every 2 days for Vlogmas, and I'm just kind of documenting my daily life throughout this season, as well as any kind of festive, Christmassy, holiday-y type stuff I'm up to. So I'd be happy to have you join me for that. In addition to Vlogmas and the podcast, I'd love to hear from you. So if you want to connect, I've got all of my social media information in the description. It includes Instagram. I am the.mindfulknitter on Instagram, and I post on there a few times throughout the week. I don't post every day because I'm not super social media-y, I guess. I don't post every day, but I do post a few times a week. And I'm trying to get better about posting more regularly just because it is kind of fun. I don't remember. And then I do have Ravelry as well. So it is the Mindful Knitter Pod on Ravelry, and we've also got a Ravelry group for this channel, and it is the Mindful Knitter Podcast group on Ravelry. So, and email. You can also email me at clairethemindfulknitter@gmail.com. Again, all of this information is in the description below, so feel free to send me a comment if there's ever anything that you would like for me to include in the channel, or content you would like to do, or if, I don't know, it might be fun to do giveaways or things like that, or prizes for make-alongs. I don't know, anything that you guys would like to message me about related to the channel, please feel free. So yes, if you're new, just real quick, this is a channel that is primarily about knitting, but I do talk about crochet, other yarn related stuff, crafty things, and then of course mindfulness. So we do get into all of that, and our episode format is in the description below, but it is finished objects, works in progress, maybe some upcoming projects, and then acquisitions, mindfulness segment, and then knit chat slash chat. And then I do questions and answers at the end. So welcome. We'll go ahead and get started for today. I feel like I'm making so much stuff for you guys lately with the vlog, but it's kind of nice to get into the old familiar of the podcast format. So as old as this is, I've only been doing this for a couple months, but I like it. It's already starting to feel familiar and cozy. So first up, for finished objects, I don't really have any finished objects this week, although actually I did try to plan ahead a little bit. So this sweater is one that I made last year. No, actually earlier this year. I finished this in January this year. This is the very first sweater jumper that I ever made, and I did not use a pattern. This was before I started using patterns. I only started using patterns this summer. So for the first many years I was knitting, I just made everything up. So this sweater is just a series of rectangles with some decreases to make this kind of V-ish knit. It's a very sort of rugged, rustic kind of thing. But it's pretty cozy and I like it. I made the sleeves way too big. They're very heavy, and they're too long, so I've got this folded back. But what I might do, I'm considering doing this maybe in the new year. I'm considering ripping back the sleeves to, I don't know, maybe about the elbow and just decreasing this to make it a little bit more snug, get the sleeves the right length. And I think that that will help. The sleeves are actually so heavy that it does pull the drop shoulder top like kind of off of my shoulders, which is a little annoying at times. So I think that'll help. It'll get some weight off of it. It'll help kind of snug it to my arm and kind of keep it in place. So I think that that'll be a good kind of tweak. And it's just garter stitch, you can see. So it's not gonna be complicated at all to knit back up if I decide to rip this out. So yeah, might frog the sleeves to the elbows and then re-knit that, because that's a lot of extra, it's a lot of extra fabric. It is not necessary. This yarn that I used, I'm not remembering it off the top of my head, so I will try to get that information for you guys. Actually, hold tight. I have it on my Amazon information because I ordered this yarn off of Amazon. So I can look it up on Amazon. But yeah, it was just a garter stitch. I knit it flat and seamed it all together. And again, I just kind of made it up as I went. So I'd never knit a sweater before. I had never used a pattern before. So I just kind of used a sweater that I had already like had in my closet as sort of like a guide. But I didn't take into account, you know, things like the stretchiness of like a hand knit and pretty loosely knit fabric. So I should have knit it smaller than I did probably, although I'm liking this looser down here right now. It was a little big when I knit it. It was pretty baggy, but I am a little bigger than I was at the beginning of the year because I've had some health issues this year. But hopefully we're getting that sorted out and everything will be working the way it should, and I am feeling better as we're going. My GI doctor is great, but yeah, we're getting that figured out, but that is neither here nor there. Yeah, so it worked pretty well to just use the sweater in my closet as a guide. I measured myself as I went as well. Yeah, so like I would measure my arm, and you know, my arm length, arm circumference, like in different places, all these kinds of things. Okay, so this says it's currently unavailable, but this is the Red Heart Chic Sheep, and the colorway is Velvet. And actually, let me turn the screen brightness up so you can probably see it a little bit better. So currently unavailable. That's the information for it. It is wool. Yeah, it's 100% merino wool. And it doesn't have any of the other specs on it that I can see. Yeah, I wonder if there are different colors available. Yeah, so different colors are available. This velvet color is not, but they do have other colors available. So it might be that they'll get this color back in stock pretty soon. Yeah, it doesn't say. Okay, so some people answered though that it's 186 yards per 100 grams. And somebody else said that it's a size 4 worsted weight yarn. 4 medium worsted weight, 160 yards on each skein. So yeah, that seems to be right then, because we're getting that answer multiple times. It was easy to work with. It was a pleasant yarn to work with. I think it would be a good one for color work too. All of the colors on here are like a solid, like a solid kind of color. It was nice to work with. I would recommend it. And it was not expensive particularly. So it was, I think, pretty affordable for 100% merino wool yarn. So yeah. I enjoyed this. So first sweater, this is my finished object. I finished it in January, but it's still a finished object, just not for this week. And this is my first time knitting a sweater made up as I went. Yeah, so I will probably tweak it. So I have my Chestnut Fibres Christmas Kitties project bag, and in here I have some holiday gift knitting. So I've got my socks that I'm making for my little brother. Here's sock number 1. And I've got sock number 2 pretty well underway. He has pretty big feet, so the foot of his sock takes quite a long time for me to knit. And I'm not a fast knitter, so it's taken me a while. It's been, I started these about a week ago, and here we are. And this is the only thing I've been knitting on this week. I've been busier than usual too. So, well, I don't know if it's busier than usual, but it's just a busy time. So, yeah, I've been pretty busy with the other things, so I haven't had as much time to knit. There were a few days where I only got to knit for maybe 15 minutes, so that's okay. I am knitting these on Knit Pick Stroll tonal, Knit Pick Stroll tonal in the train station colorway. So I'll show it to you again, I suppose. I'll show you the ball, because I'll show you the sock up close to next episode when I'm showing you them as a finished object. But yeah, it's all these nice grays and blacks. I guess it's just got the one, black, but it's got lots of grays in it. So it's a nice little tonal. He requested black and gray to go with his loungewear, as he says. So I oblige. Yeah, and this cute drawstring festive cat bag. My other work in progress is in another cat bag. I think this is also Chestnut Fibres. Yeah, this is also Chestnut Fibres. Cute cat bag. This I have not worked on at all week, because like I said, the only thing I've knit on were those socks, and I haven't even knit on them a whole lot. So this is my, I'll just show it to you briefly because I've made no progress on it. This is the cowl for my niece. Yeah, I'm about halfway through it, so maybe this week I'll try to get through this color, this little middle color section, and into the last section, because I'm about halfway through. I have a million ends to weave in. Yeah, I do have a million ends to weave in. And I need to look into intarsia color work, because I think I want to learn some intarsia color work, because I don't know how to do that, and I think I should know how. I think it'd be useful. Just again, this is the simplicity in these two colors. This was Bubblegum. This was Rose Bloom, I believe. Or maybe this was Rose Bloom. This was Lang Cashmerino. And this may have, no, actually I don't think this one had a colorway name. Yeah, so this is Lang Cashmerino for babies and children. And this is, yeah, the Simplicity in Bubblegum and Rose Bloom. 55% superwash merino, 28% acrylic, 17% nylon. Both of these are, say, a DK weight. This was really more of a, well, it's so hard to tell sometimes. I would say that this is more like a very light DK or a sport weight, maybe, the Lang Cashmerino. It is a smaller, slightly smaller yarn than these two. And I would say these are pretty, I'd say pretty solidly these are DK weight. So these are lovely and soft. And then I am accenting it with this. This is a fingering weight. This is by Nanette Wake Studio. Yes, it is like highlighter pink. That is not a trick of the light. I don't know this colorway name because it came with a pack. I think this may have been a one-of-a-kind colorway actually, because I got it during one of her like sales, and yeah, but I think this was a 50-gram skein. Yeah, 50-gram skein that came in like a little pack of 3. So highlighting with this. It is fingering weight, so it is significantly smaller than the others, but it seems to be okay because I'm just using it for these little like faux baubles that I'm doing. So you can kind of see they're raised up and they're like little faux baubles. Yeah, so it was all like shoved in here. Yeah, I think I'm not loving, I haven't worked on it because it's just not, I'm not having tons of fun with it. I think she'll probably really enjoy it, so that is what is keeping me going. And I think I'll have a lot more fun knitting her the mittens that go with this. But it's just not super fun to knit. I don't know, maybe I should have made up a different type of pattern, or maybe I should have used a pattern. I don't know, but I think it'll be cute when it's done, and I think it'll be very cute on my niece. So last thing is I'm going to be casting these on today, and this is my Nanette Wake Studio Nutcracker project bag with the little Christmassy ornament looking stitch markers. And what I have in here is all Nanette Wake Studio yarn. I did mention this in my last vlog, I think, so feel free to skip over this if you've already seen this in that vlog. But this is going to be for my Christmas socks, and I'm also not going to talk about it tons because it's in my last vlog. So yeah, this is I keep forgetting what this one's called. Moss. No, not moss. It'll come to me, I'm sure. And I did mention it in the vlog. I think it was yesterday. I did this in my Vlogmas episode for yesterday. But yeah, these are going to be my Christmas socks, and I'm going to cast them on today because I really want you to go ahead and start wearing them. I also knit Alex's fishing socks out of this one. It is just not coming to me at the moment. Oh, olive drab. This is the olive drab colorway, and it's very pretty. It's got little like hints of like a steely blue in it. It's a very pretty colorway. All of these are lovely and soft. This is all 85% merino, 15% nylon, superwash merino. Yeah, and I'll show you like a little bit more about this one because it does color change a little as you go around. So I think that'll be very pretty. I think this will make great Christmas socks. What I'm thinking about doing is the body of the sock is going to be this lovely variegated This will be almost stripy, I think. I think this will be almost stripy. The way that this looks to me, skeined up. Yeah, I think this is going to be almost stripy looking. This is going to be heels and toes. And then I think that my olive drab is going to be like a little bit of an accent. Maybe at the top of the cuff. I was thinking about doing like an accent heel turn with this, but I'm thinking that I might instead do like little accent, like little mini stripes at places. We'll see. Maybe around like at the top of the cuff, maybe at the heel, and then maybe like right at the toe as well. So we'll see what I do as I go. But I really am excited about this, and I'm ready to get those cast on because I want some Christmas socks to wear, because I don't have any hand knit Christmas socks because I just started knitting socks like 3 or 4 months ago. So those are my works in progress for this week. I'm probably going to, well, I think I'm going to concentrate on getting my brother's socks done, getting some of that cowl done so that I can hopefully get it done next week, and then getting my Christmas socks done, or at least well underway. I really only have one more pair of holiday socks that I feel like I must get done. I have a few more I would like to get done, but they are not as urgent. So I think that the Christmas knitting is going pretty well. No complaints here. So I might have to tweak my plan, but I have a good backup plan in case I don't have time to get it all done. That'll be good. Alrighty, so acquisitions. I have a few things to show you. If you've been watching Vlogmas, then you will see that I did go to a yarn shop the other day, and so I have all of that in, I think it's Vlogmas number 2. I think number 2 is where I have that. I also went to the Van Gogh immersive experience. That was amazing. But yeah, the yarn shop that I went to was really great. The guy who was working there is actually a knitwear designer, and he mentioned that he like recognized me from the podcast, which was so weird to hear. It was very surreal, but also kind of cool and exciting. So that was really fun, and he was very delightful. So I was very grateful to get to meet him. And he gave me his information to like look into his knitwear designs. So I am definitely going to do that and share that with you guys as soon as I look into that a little bit more. I'm excited to see what he's come up with because he was very delightful. And the shop was lovely. So if you're interested in checking out that shop, it's called the Craftivist in Atlanta, Georgia. We drove a few hours to go to get there. But it's called the Craftivist, and it was lovely. And I have lots of footage of it in that Vlogmas episode. So while I was there, I got this tote because I love the name The Craftivist. What a cute name. And I got this little pin. Also just says The Craftivist. So that was cute. I have it on here for now, but I'll probably put it on something else. And I was pretty restrained while I was there. I just got 2 skeins of yarn because I really don't need a whole lot of yarn. I've got plenty of yarn right now. I don't need more, but I wanted to get a couple things while I was there because it's fun. So I just got 2 skeins of sock yarn. One is Unique Fingering yarn from Earth Yarns. It's the extra fine superwash merino, and it is a self-striping yarn. So my first pair of socks I ever knit, which was earlier this summer / early fall, was in unique earth sock yarn. And I love these colors. I think they're really beautiful. I think they're great year-round colors too. Like, I kind of lean towards them being slightly more fall-ish, but I really think that they are perfectly fine for all year round. And they're just, yeah, they're just beautiful. I love that. And it's so soft and nice. It's very soft and squishy. So let's see, fingering weight, 435 yards per 100 grams. They suggest needle size of US 1 to 3. I will probably knit these on size US 1.5 because that is my MO. Although I say that, lately I've been having some good experiences knitting my socks on like a mix of half my DPNs are US 1s and half my DPNs are US 1.5s, and that's getting me some pretty good fitting socks for my foot. So I might do that with this. Yeah, I just thought these colors were really beautiful. I love these like lovely, they're like somewhere in between like a jewel tone and like an earthy kind of color. They're just so pretty. I love that. So this made me really happy, and self-striping yarn sounds great to me. I would love to do some self-striping yarn. So that's going to be a great cast on in the new year. And then this was a yarn dyer that I'd never heard of before. They're hand dyed in Athens, Georgia. It's called Ryan Yarn, and their little logo is so cute. They had a lot of the Ryan yarn at the Craftivist. It's a twist sock yarn base, as you can probably tell from the up close. It's 80% superwash merino wool, 20% nylon, 400 yards in 100 grams. It says hand wash in cool water, lay flat to dry. This is the colorway Just a Ghost at Most, which is so cute. And I have been wanting something that was more speckled. So this is like a mix between a variegated, it's like a speckled variegated. Oh, it's so beautiful though. This is very happy yarn. So I could not say no to it. Yeah, just really beautiful. This is also soft. Somebody commented a few episodes ago that they really like rustic feeling yarns, and I think that's really fun, that we all have such different, I don't know, variety is the spice of life. So I think that's so fun. I definitely am a soft yarn person. The softer the yarn, the happier I am. So I don't care if it's ridiculously hard to knit with. If it feels like a cloud, I'm all over it. So I love the soft yarns. And I didn't mention, I think this is 100% wool. Yeah, this is 100% extra fine superwash merino for the unique earth yarn, the unique sock earth yarn. So yeah, these were my 2 yarn purchases from the Craftivist. I am super pleased with them. They make me very happy. I have plenty to be knitting in the new year. Good grief. I have a lot on my to-do list for knitting, which is very exciting to me. I've never had that experience before. So it's very fun to have a knitty to-do list. And I've got so much yarn now. I have accumulated a lot of yarn this year. So I think next year I will maybe accumulate less yarn. I'll do more knitting, yes, less yarn buying. Although I've done plenty of knitting this year too. I'm actually thinking at the end of the year, I'd like to do a year in review, kind of maybe episode. I might do it as a podcast, or maybe I'll just do it as an episode. I might do it as a whole, as its own video, because I think that'd be kind of fun to review all the things I've knit over the year, experiences I've had, things I've learned. I don't know. I kind of like that idea. So Do you guys feel like that would be something you'd be interested in? I think I'd have fun doing that. So my other acquisition, I didn't buy. This was gifted to me from my mom. This was yarn that she has had for a long time. So I'll show you the more recent yarn first. So she bought this yarn. These are huge skeins. So she bought this yarn maybe 8 years ago, and she doesn't knit anymore because of arthritis in her hands. So she right now does needlepoint, but she doesn't do any knitting. And so she can needlepoint for short periods of time, but that's about it for her craftiness. Actually, I mentioned before, you know, with how I learned how to knit, that I kind of taught myself because nobody in my family knits. And that is true. Nobody in my family does knit. My mom recently told me that she used to knit, like in her youth. But never in the whole time that I've been alive have I ever seen my mom knit, or have I ever heard her talk about knitting, really. Other than her maybe mentioning very briefly, like, oh yeah, I used to knit. Like when I started getting into knitting, she just kind of briefly like mentioned that, but she didn't talk about knitting with me. You know, we didn't ever knit together. Like I've never seen her knit in my entire life. So when I started getting into yarn several years ago, so she may have had these skeins for like 10 years or more. She bought, I do actually remember her buying these, and her intention was to knit herself a sweater. So when I was visiting over Thanksgiving, she was going through stuff, she's decluttering, and she got into her old yarn stash that, you know, she hasn't used in several decades. And she pulled these out and she was like, here, would you use these? And I was like, yes, I'll definitely use these. And then she told me that she had gotten these to make herself a sweater with. And so I kind of want her to have a sweater made out of them. So I think I'm gonna knit my mom a sweater out of these two. And these are mountain mohair. I think these are 200 gram skeins, because they're pretty fluffy. I mean, they might be 300 grams. No, they're 200. So 200 gram skeins. It's 67% acrylic, 14% wool, 10% polyester, and 9% mohair. And it is a bulky yarn, it says. Yeah, so I already know what pattern I'm going to use to knit my mom a sweater with these. They're really soft and lovely, and they're very squishy. You could use them as a pillow. But yeah, they're beautiful. There's this gold and blue. And I think I'm going to do the same pattern for my arts sweater that I showed you guys 2 episodes ago. It's a pattern from We Are Knitters, and it's just a boxy, flowy, knit flat and seam together kind of sweater. It's a very simple and quick kind of knit up. It's got a border, and then it's got like a vaguely interesting but simple border, and then it's just stockinette for the vast majority of it. And I think that this will knit up great for that. My mom is gonna need a larger size than I would need, so I think what I'll probably have to do is get another skein of yarn that coordinates with these so that I can do the border in that skein. And what I'll probably do too is I'll probably make the border larger than what the pattern calls for, so that it can add to the size of the sweater, because I do need it to be larger, and I want to stretch this as far as it'll go. So yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna be knitting my mom a sweater using these. That might be maybe her Mother's Day present. Yeah, so I would like to have that maybe as my goal, to get her sweater knit by Mother's Day. Yeah, I think that'd be nice. So that's what these guys are gonna be. because she told me I could just use it for anything, but I was like, well, but you really love this yarn and you wanted a sweater out of it and you were gonna knit a sweater, so I'll knit you a sweater. It'll be fun. It'll be the first sweater I've ever knit for another person. I don't know what I'm gonna do with this guy. Oh, and then the colorway for this. The colorway is Opal Mountain. Yeah, so this colorway is Opal Mountain. Maybe see it there. And then this colorway is Nantucket Sky. And again, she did get these several years ago, so I don't even know if these yarns are available anymore. But in case you're interested, that's what the colors are. So this is beautiful. It's the same yarn, just different colorway. So I don't really know what to do with this one. She has a lot of shawls. I don't know if maybe she wanted, I don't think these super go together though. So I don't know, if she wanted a really funky kind of sweater, I could do these together and this could be the border. But I don't really think they go together. So I don't know. She said she doesn't need any more shawls. She said she has too many shawls in her life. She doesn't need any more. So I won't knit her a shawl, but I don't really know what else to do with this. So I'll have to think about it. If you guys have any fun ideas for this kind of yarn and for this amount of this kind of yarn, feel free to leave me a comment with any suggestions you might have, because I would love to hear what your guys' thoughts are about using this puppy. Because it's beautiful, but I don't know what to do with him. And it'd be great if I could knit something for my mom out of this, since she, you know, bought this yarn. I'd love to knit her something from it, because I know she loves it. So yeah, we'll see about that. So those I acquired from my mom, and I'm gonna knit things for her out of them. This I also knitted for my mom, and also look at the bag I've got all this stuff in. She didn't have a good bag for me to put all of these in. And we were going through, I don't know, we were passing through like her wrapping station, and I was like, can I just borrow one of these? So I had like a Santa bag full of yarn. I need some drink. Oh, and actually, while I'm thinking about it, so this is my new mug. I showed this to you guys in a podcast episode this week. It might have been episode 3. Or not podcast, Vlogmas. This might have been Vlogmas number 3 that I showed you guys this mug. And I mentioned it in a podcast episode like about a month ago, maybe? Yeah. But this is my Nutcracker mug. And I bought it at the Paper Source, but the mug is made by Rifle Paper Company. I did misspeak about that in Vlogmas number 3. I said that it was by Paper Source. It's actually by Rifle Paper Company, but I bought it at Paper Source. I did correct that in the comments because I recognized my mistake after I'd already posted the video and everything. So I did correct that mistake, but yeah. Rifle Paper Company. I think they probably still got them on their website. So yeah, this is delightful. And I'm just drinking more of that winter wake up tea. I think that's what it's called. Winter wake up tea by Trader Joe's. So it's a great tea for the winter. It tastes very good iced, like adding just a little bit of some sort of sweet to it and then icing it. Whew, it's like magic tea. But onward to this. So what is in here? So much baby yarn, and then some of this guy. This is an acrylic. This is a very old acrylic yarn. This is probably almost 15 years old. No, No. This is probably almost, this is over 20 years old. Yeah, I knit with this as a child. Or not, I crocheted with this as a child. And my mom just had an extra one. No idea who it's by, nothing. It's just an acrylic, kind of fun colors though. So he's going over there with my other yarn of this sort. But I have so much baby yarn. I don't know why my mom had all this. I think she said she was going to try to knit an Afghan, like 20 or 30 years ago. This looks like it's from the 70s or 80s. Possibly the early 90s, but this is old yarn. This is 30, 40-year-old yarn. Probably, I would guess. But yeah, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 skeins. Oh boy. So yeah, I've got a lot of baby yarn, but it's good because everybody's having babies, so I can use this. This is called Baby Rainbow Ombre. It is Karen Dazzler yarn. It is 80% acrylic, 20% nylon, worsted weight. So funny. We got some vintage yarn up in here. That glare is unhelpful. There we go. Yeah. And then here's the colorway information. So it's reasonably soft. Yeah, I mean, acrylic can be very soft, so it's reasonably soft yarn, so that's kind of neat. Everybody is having babies right now. Like, I think I've got like 4 babies in my life at the moment, so I have no problem having all this baby yarn. Excuse me. Oh, goodness. Now I have to wash all the baby yarn. That's fine. I would have to wash it anyway before I gifted it. Because I have like dogs in the house and all kinds of stuff. But yeah, so what I think I'm probably gonna do with these guys is start knitting actually what I would like to do with this is I'd like to try crocheting a baby blanket. So yeah, I think I'm gonna start again in the new year crocheting a baby blanket. Not sure who it's gonna be for yet because I have multiple pregnant people in my life at the moment, so not sure who will get this one. Someone's gonna get it, and I could probably maybe get 2 baby blankets out of this. I know crochet takes more yarn, so it might be that only one person ends up getting a crocheted one out of this, but who knows, we'll see. I'm also weaving something at the moment, so I might try weaving with some of this. Not sure, but I've got a crap ton of it, so, and it's kind of pretty. I think this will be lovely for a baby blanket. It is a little light colored, so you know, that makes me a little nervous for, you know, the baby getting it dirty, but it'll be machine washable, so it should be machine washable because it's just acrylic yarn. So I can't imagine that it wouldn't be. Machine wash and dry. Use warm water with any detergent. Needs no shaping when machine dried. So cool. Easy care for mom and dad when the baby inevitably make some sort of mess on this light colored baby blanket I'm gonna make. I don't think I'm gonna make a very large blanket. It'll probably be like stroller sized or something. But we'll see. So that was really nice. So I got a ton of free yarn, which was cool. And I acquired it. I didn't purchase it, but I feel like that still counts. So it goes in my acquisitions. Yeah. So fun stuff. I'm very excited about that. So I guess we'll do just a short mindfulness segment for today. I don't have. I was actually thinking about this since a couple of people have mentioned, stress management during the holidays, which is a very real thing that comes up every year. Stress management around the holidays. I was thinking of perhaps filming a separate, sort of like meditative mindful knitting video. I'd like to have that up by this week or by the end of this week. We'll see what happens, but I think I probably could have it up by the end of this week. But I'd kind of like to just film that separately for you guys and have it be sort of, I don't know, holiday-y in nature. Yeah, heads up for that one. It probably won't have any kind of music with it because not everybody likes the same kind of music. So I'm probably not going to have music in that video. So I would just encourage you, if you want music while following along with that video, maybe play your own music from a different device as you've got that video on. But also feel free to leave me a comment about that in the comments below, because it could. No. Well, feel free to leave me a comment about it anyway, but I was thinking like, oh, you could always mute the video and just have if you don't like that music, and I can just put music with it anyway. But copyright stuff is such a thing with music. I have not figured out the YouTube studio editor thing yet for editing videos to add music and stuff to it. That is YouTube approved music. So that's on my to-do list. Because I want to start adding like music and things. Because I think that is kind of nice. But I'm not going to put music in with that video because I'll probably do a little bit of talking to do some like guided meditation stuff in it. So yeah, so heads up, if you want to do that video and you want some music in the background, just, have a device ready for some playing your own quiet music in the background to add to it. Or you can do it without music, sans music. So I'll be posting that, I think, as a separate video. I didn't want to do it within the podcast because it just seemed like a lot to try to juggle, because I think I'm going to have several elements in that video, I think. So for today, I was just going to throw out the idea to you guys about kind of creating space within such a busy time of year, creating some space and some stillness. And maybe that looks like having 10 more minutes in the morning where you make a hot drink and you just sit with it in silence for 10 minutes, 5-10 minutes in the morning. And you just mindfully drink it, or even just sit with it and you just feel the warmth, you smell it, you watch the steam rise, anything really. Maybe it is at the end of the day where you have your knitting and you shut yourself away perhaps and, quietly knit or listen to some soft music. Or maybe it's going outside and just feeling the breeze and listening to birds. But I would invite you guys to find some stillness within this busy time. A lot of the times we can sit and decompress with more stimulation. Like we sit and we knit and we watch podcasts or YouTube videos or TV or the Great British Baking Show, which are all great things. And I have a podcast and a YouTube channel, so I like that stuff. I'm watching everybody's Vlogmases right now and I am loving it. And I watch podcasts and I'm watching the Christmas and holiday specials of the Great British Baking Show. But I think it's also really good for our nervous system, our spirit, just, all of us, to have stillness too. And in particular, it is very busy right now. So set aside, maybe even set a timer for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, however many minutes, for quiet stillness. And winter season is kind of a time that evokes that as well. It is within nature a time of the year where there's a lot of stillness and quiet and rest and peacefulness. And so giving yourself that, I would say every day if you can. Most of the time we can have 5 minutes of quiet. But yeah, giving your nervous system that break. It could just be sitting in your car, after work, sitting in your car in the quiet and just breathing, just noting your inhale and your exhale, and your inhale and your exhale. It could be anything for you that is just quiet and still and peaceful. And it could be knitting in silence for 15 minutes before bed. And you can add, things to this to make it a little cozier, like maybe light a candle, or maybe have some very soft instrumental music playing. I'd invite you, no words, because words start accessing or start activating, the word processing system in the brain. And again, that's stimulating, whereas just kind of very soft instrumental, while still a little stimulating, is less so. Your brain is doing less translating. It's a little less active. So yeah, those would be things that maybe I would invite you to do. Maybe take a nature walk with no music or audiobook or anything playing for at least part of it. So you don't have to meditate in silence for an hour every day, but I just invite 5 minutes of very peaceful, still time. So intentionally creating that for yourself. So sitting in silence and just worrying about things is not the same thing. So give yourself something to do that, like the breathing, or, listening to birds, or, whatever it is. So, if I need to clarify that anymore, let me know in the comments. But I feel like that probably kind of covers the idea. So yeah, that could be a way to help manage stress a little bit this season, as creating some quiet stillness within this time of extravagant busyness. Even though the busyness can be really fun, sometimes it's not for some people, depending on the situation. And even when we have fun busyness, sometimes it's just, overload, even when it's fun. So quiet stillness, I would invite you guys to create some for yourselves. And then I will be creating a little knitting meditation video that is seasonally appropriate, but that does not have any kind of holiday or Christmassy music or anything, because you might not like that music. And also copyright things, and I want to be careful about that and be respectful of artists. So yeah, that's our mindfulness segment for today. And then questions and answers. I didn't look right before I started filming, but from my memory, I don't have any questions to answer. Again, guys, feel free to ask me questions. I welcome them. But as for questions for you guys, I didn't actually prep any for today. Yeah, are you doing any gift knitting? I'd be curious about that. I'd be curious to hear about any gift knitting that you guys are doing. And then, is there anything that you feel like you would like more or less of in the channel? Yeah, I want to make sure that what I'm putting out there is helpful or useful or fun or enjoyable for people. So any suggestions? I think that would be something I would be really interested in. If anybody has any suggestions for the channel, I'm not a professional fiber person, so I'm not going to have as fancy of a channel as the professionals do. I watch a lot of the professional podcasts and knitting channels, and they're wonderful, and they take a lot more time to edit than I have. So yeah, a lot of them will say like it takes them hours to edit their videos, and I don't have hours to edit videos, so I'm not going to be able to do that. But besides that, I'm interested to know like any suggestions you guys might have, because I'd like to create content that, I don't know, brings more light and goodness into the world. And I am not the fountain of all knowledge, so suggestions would be good as to ways I could do that better. Yeah. And then any fun festive things you guys are doing this year? I would love to know what you're doing, and if you're bringing your knitting along with you to do those things. I was gonna go look at Christmas lights this last week, or this weekend, and we didn't get to. Hopefully I'll get to do that soon. I think I'm gonna make some cookies, though. I'm gonna make some ginger molasses cookies, I think, because I think we're gonna have craft night later this week. I taught one of my friends how to knit recently, and she is all about it now, which is so exciting to me. I'm so happy for her, and I'm happy to have a knitting friend at long last. So I think I'll make some ginger molasses cookies for knit night / craft night for all the people there who won't be knitting but who will just be crafting or painting or other lovely things. Yeah, so what kind of activities are you guys doing right now? I'd be happy to know any festive things you're doing, and then again if you're knitting while you do them, or if knitting is part of them, or how you work your knitting into your festivities, or maybe they're totally separate. I don't know. But yeah, those would be my questions, because I'm real interested in those sorts of things. And again, if you have an opinion about the end of year review video, or things you would like for me to include in the end of year review, or the year in review video, I'd be happy to know any suggestions or things you guys would want out of that. So, alrighty. I feel like I'm starting to get a little rambly, so I'll go ahead and end it here. I've gotta, I need to get to work anyway. So I was very happy to hang out with you guys today. Hopefully you had fun. I did. And feel free to reach out if you have any questions, comments, want to just chat a little bit. I'm always happy to see this. I'm sometimes slow at getting back to people's comments, but I try to always get back to everybody's comments. So if you commented on a past video and I never commented, like check it and see, because I probably have commented. It probably just took me a while. But yeah, I hope that you guys have a good rest of your day. I hope to hang out with you again soon on the next podcast episode next week, or over Vlogmas, because I'm posting those every 2 days at the moment. So happy knitting, crafting, or whatever it is you love to do, and I will see you guys again soon. Bye.